I don't know. You take one night off to have a little bit of you and the missus time. Celtic release a statement. Chris Sutton goes ballistic at Peter Lawwell to say he's talking pish. And our owner is going to have a clear out of the board. All in today's Celtic news. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you give the video a big, massive thumbs up. Right. What about last night's statement from Celtic? We'll go through the interim report in a minute. But the breaking news is this morning, it's been alleged by the one and only Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell that used to run Scottish football. He does keep his ear close to the ground when it comes to everything Scottish football. And he still has a big interest in Celtic. He's obviously a Celtic fan. But he shared on social media a deep hinting that a seated desire for change within the Celtic hierarchy. It was suggested that our owner's son was in town last week. And they would have had the interim report before it was released to the board. And they're probably sitting thinking, everyone says that Dermot Desmond uses Celtic as a cash cow. He doesn't. He's a billionaire in his own right. Celtic is his little play toy to make sure that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And we've spoken about it on this channel. Look, there is another two Scottish guys with over £17 million worth of shares in Celtic who are the second and third biggest shareholders at Celtic. And they have nothing to do with the Celtic and have nothing to do with it whatsoever. But our owner, well, he's not our owner, but the major shareholder is going to have a total clear out of the board. You've got to remember, he's the man that picked up the phone and brought the one and only Brendan Rodgers back to the club. He's only done that twice before in his time as owning the majority of Celtic shares, and that was when he brought Martin O'Neill into the club. And then the second time when he brought Brendan Rodgers in the first time round. It was him that brought Brendan back, and he will go and die by the sword of it. The fact that he doesn't want to sell the club, he's seemingly had enough. I mean, his son has had enough of the current board. Welcome to our world, mate. Welcome to our world. And the call for change has been unfounded with the Celtic supporters. It's been 23 years of corporate governance by our owner, and Lawwell's been there pretty much a lot of the time. There's a lot of whispers that there are legal concerns, a lack of ambition beyond domestic level. That is the position that we don't want to progress in Europe is, I think, one that every fan can stand by. This bullshit that Peter Lawwell's happy with, we've just been dominant in Scottish football. Okay, beat them 4 times. Fuck that. Get rid of the playing them 4 times a season. Get rid of playing them 4 times a season. Make the league bigger. And folks say, you don't want to be paying Plush every week, though, do you? And you didn't want to be playing them 4 times a season. And then is that the highlight of your season? There needs a massive change, not just at Celtic, but the whole of Scottish football, as far as I'm concerned. And that's from somebody that had spent tens of thousands going to games over the years. And yes, tens of thousands going to games over the years. And now looks at from afar. And sometimes when you take a step back and you have a look at things, you're like, yeah, do you know what? You could change that. And you look at other leagues, and you don't have to be a fan for doing that. You can do that for sitting on your couch in Scotland. Anyway, tell me what you think. Do you think it is right that the board members should be the ones that take the fall? Because Peter Lawwell's come out and said that Brendan Rodgers is going to get the cash in the summer. Everyone that wants Brendan Rodgers out said, he's football, he's pish. Brendan Rodgers will get the money in the summer to make Celtic better. But the one and only Chris Sutton says that Peter Lawwell's Celtic statement just isn't good enough. He's not buying excuses anymore. Peter Lawwell didn't have anywhere to go. He says when Celtic's interim report come out, we knew it. Everyone knew it. Basically admitted as much. It's freaking managed decline. I'm going to be honest here. If there were satisfactory answers in the key questions, mainly the appointment and failure to add to the squad, the collective responsibility would have been taken. But it doesn't seem to change the big question. Why were these mistakes made? Who is to blame, says Chris Sutton. If the funds were available, there's someone somewhere sitting on a bundle of cash and they don't want to spend it. And why? The board are the ones that have to be targeted now, not the manager. The manager has not been given the tools to work with. People will say, yeah, but his football's boring, Baz. It's pish, it's side to side. Listen to what Brendan says. He's putting it onto the players. He's wanting the players to play fast attacking football. He's come out as many times and said, look, we're passing it back too many times. We're passing side to side. He needs to be more vocal on the pitch then, if that's the case. We need to identify targets. We need more alternatives, because it's quite simply, you're telling me there wasn't a single left back that is better than Greg Taylor and Alexandro Bernabe, says Big Chris Sutton. Come on. I'm not entirely sure about the transfer activity in Lewis in England for 10 years has anything to do with Celtic. Celtic need to be braver in the transfer market, Brendan Rodgers said, and Chris Sutton has said that also. They wouldn't have been big spenders to buy the Premier League down south. He also goes on to say, in any case, what about the summer? What really mattered for Celtic? Odin Ohm barely kicked the ball. Marco Tilio is gone. Kwon is gone. Yang projects. Gustav told he could have had gone in January. Rocky now finds Stephen Welsh in the queue. What does that say about Rocky? Lewis Palmer's done okay, but he's faded. He needs to get fitter, says the one and only Chris Sutton. And Nat Phillips going back to Liverpool because he was wash. Absolutely wash. Paulo Bernardo took time to get going, but he's lost his place in the side because Brendan Rodgers has changed the team to bring Kyogo Furiashi back into the team in the midfield. We need to play 3-5-2, Brendan. Change it. And the reason Celtic were scrambling because of those mistakes in the summer. Nico Kuhn was brought in, and Adam Ida. They're not automatic starters, says the main man, the big Chris. Talks of renewing contracts for those Matt O'Reilly, Cameron Carter-Vickers, correctly pointed out there's excellent business to be done in the transfer market, but we need stability. Projects do not bring stability. The words, and I told you to expect this. When Celtic pushed out the boat and said, yeah, here's our new training complex. Woo! Here's the new training complex. We've started working on it. It's £20 million. And it's good. Yeah, good news story. Bad news story. We're sitting with 67 million in the bank. Right, let's get to the interim report to see the push that they were putting out. You probably all seen it on the Celtic website. Celtic have released their interim report for the last 6 months to December 31st, 2023. Key operational items. Celtic had 14 fixtures, participation in the European Champions League group stages, securing 4 points. They'll see that as a positive because we never got 4 points last season. I told you. It's all birthday card push coming out of Celtic. Commencing major development at Barrowfield training. Happy. See, told you. Everything's fine. Revenue increased by 11% to 85.2 million. In 2022, it was 76 million. The profit from player trading, was 32 million. 32 million in profit. In 2022, it was 28 million. We are making profit on players, but not spending. Profit and transfer player registration shown as profit on disposable intangible assets is 2.6 million. Profit before taxation, 30 million. Acquisition of players, 12 million pounds. 12,900,000 is all we spent last summer. Think about that. Period net cash borrowings in the bank, and that is sitting at 60 period of cash. So we're sitting with 67 million pounds in the bank. We're sitting with 67 million pounds cash in the bank. 67 million pounds. And we couldn't go out and buy a left back for 3 or 4 million. We couldn't go out and buy a striker for 5 or 6 million. We couldn't go out and buy a certain striker that plays for Aberdeen for 8 million. Say they wanted 8 million. We had the money. We buy the league. They done it in the 90s. We should have been buying the league. It's still in our hands, yes. But if we lose the league, there has to be decisions made by Dermot and his son. There has to be a clear out at the top end. Brendan is your man, Dermot. Get rid of the board. Get rid of Lawwells. Get rid of Nicholson, because he's absolutely doing complete whatever somebody's saying above him. There has to be big major changes at Celtic, and it comes at the boardroom level. We are not scared as fans to tell you exactly what is needed. Yes, Brendan Rodgers is an elite manager, but he's not given the funds and he's not given the players that he needs to compete at the highest level. Celtic went on to say we benefited from Champions League qualification both in 22 and 23, increased underlying revenue by 8.7 million to 85.2 million for the first half of 2023. Relative to the same period last year. Yes. He then goes on to say, since the opening of the transfer window in June 2023, the up end of the transfer window that closed, Jesus. We have committed 23.9 million players in players' investment. We extended the contracts of Cameron Carter Vickers. Right, this is where you need to get into the nitty gritty and the mathematical. They're including the whole 5-year term contract in this, right? In these figures, they're including Cameron Carter Vickers' wages, Matt O'Reilly's wages, Lee Labada, Anthony Ralston, Rio Hatate. They're including those figures in the total number. This is where it gets a bit thingy for you out there. The board is committed to strengthening and improving the playing squad in every transfer window, although resources were available, we were unable to further add to the squad due to the unavailability of identified targets. This was disappointing to us all and never the intention. You knew the targets were there. You have to have an A, you have to have a B. Don't wait until the last minute of the transfer window and then try and get the players in. If Aberdeen wanted, you're not telling me that Aberdeen wouldn't have sold to Celtic for 6-7 million. Utter wash. I tell you, talk some pish. Anyway, the notable transfer activity in English was at its lowest it's been for over 10 years. Fuck off. Really? Come on. What is that to do with Celtic? The fact that the transfer window was at its lowest in England, so now Brendan is wanting to go and buy from clubs in England that won't sell. So that's what I was saying. So we couldn't afford, or no, wait a minute. The money that we wanted to pay wasn't enough. There's a whole European market that we had a chance to take players from. And coming out with stupid comments like that is absolutely terrible. Although disappointed with the second round exit of the League Cup by Kilmarnock, we look forward to our Champions League draw. Yes, we did. And we were ecstatic because it was an easy group. It was a brilliant group as far as we were concerned. It's the easiest group we've had for years outside Atletico Madrid. We beat Lazio twice under Neil Lennon. Feyenoord, you're thinking, yeah, they're there for the taking. And then you're fighting for second place. Easy. Not for Celtic, it wasn't. Celtic had to deal with injuries. And anyway. We also look forward to the creation of the Barrafield facility, which was scheduled for the end of 2024. We want to bring in high-quality facilities to the Women's Academy squads, and we're also nearing completion of a significant investment in Lennoxtown, delivering a new first team and B team changing areas. With enhanced medical and sports science facilities, investment in infrastructure is a key component to the success of modern day football. In December 23, we saw the departure of the women's team manager, Franz Alonso, because Franz Alonso wasn't given money for transfers for the women's team. He couldn't retain players because they were going for better wages. Jesus God, Celtic. Franz Alonso even came out and said such afterwards. We wish Franz Alonso all the best, and Elena's came in. Fair play to her. The UEFA European Club Association. The UEFA and the European Club Association. You have to remember that Peter Lawwell is a board member of the European Club Association. He's an actual board member at that level. We're close to agreeing the final aspect of a revised European club competition model. This will bring in an exciting new format to football, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Peter Lawwell then goes on to say, on behalf of the board and everyone at Celtic Park, I wish to extend our gratitude, appreciation for your support, backing the club. Thanks for all our shareholders, commercial partners for their continued support. Peter Lawwell signing out 2024. Fuck off, Peter. Oh my God. Anyway. This is Saturday morning. We don't play today. We play Motherwell away tomorrow. That was an absolutely fantastic read, Peter. The fans are going to just look. We need to get rid of this board. We need to get rid of people in this board. Our leader needs to make a decision. If he honestly feels that what's going on at the club can't be fixed easily, he has to make changes. There's a global pool of management talent linked to Celtic, with its rich history and foundations and strengths. Celtic could easily go out and pick some of the top talent in football to come and run the club. Our owner could easily do that. It is time for change, Celtic. Do it before it's too late. Do it so that Celtic can give back to the fans what the fans give to Celtic. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, all around the world.